Today we are going to be talking about another YouTuber. That's right, I have finally got around to talking about another YouTuber on this wonderful site called YouTube. Now, this guy, Trump Mafia, has said something that I think is stupid, as you can tell by the title. He made a video talking about how Doom the Dark Ages is making him worried. Yeah, which is hard to say because have you looked at that gameplay? That looks good. But anyway, guys, we're gonna watch this video and we're gonna find out what is making this guy so terrified. And spoilers, he made a response to two other YouTubers that criticized him, and he doesn't attack your criticisms. He tries to attack your character. Isn't that very mature of him?
Dark Ages is an upcoming game that's one of the very few pieces of media I've been looking forward to this year after the first trailer came out in 2024, and there's not a lot I'm looking forward to this year.
Well, unfortunately for you, we're not here to hear what you're excited for and what you're not excited for. We're here to hear what your criticism is of Doom and why you're worried about it. Maybe instead of, oh, I don't know, talking about what you're not looking forward to, you can get onto the point, which is something that he does this entire video. Most of this video is spent him talking about other stuff other than Doom instead of getting to the point of his criticism, if you can even call it that. Also, if you have noticed, he has a GIF, and on the GIF is like, subscribe, and comment. Wow, I am so glad that in the year 2025 we still have GIFs. Said no one ever. So I'm going to be replacing that with a picture of Trump. That way, your channel name makes sense, unlike this entire video.
I'm expecting the series Ironheart in July 2025 to be an abomination. That was supposed to release in the fall of 2023, and after the reported multiple rounds of reshoots, I'm expecting Captain America Brave New World to be a train wreck into a pile of flaming dumpsters. But I really liked the Doom trailer a lot. You can go and watch my response at the time if you want.
No, because we're not here to see that video, we're here to see your problem with Doom the Dark Ages. Again, he does this multiple times throughout this garbage video, which I'm gonna go ahead and give you some feedback. Do you watch these videos before you submit them? Because if not, you really should try to give it a try, bud. Who knows? Maybe then you'll actually be entertaining to watch.
I got annoyed at the YouTuber Darkside Phil for being a tool about it. He concluded that this new game would be terrible purely on the basis that the setting was a bit medieval.
Oh no, guys, he got mad at somebody for wage baiting. Oh my, if only DSP was known for that. Oh wait, he is. Also, I'm gonna go ahead and say this in the defense of Darkside Phil. Darkside Phil is usually rage baiting and at the same time making points that he knows makes people mad so he can get engagement. He doesn't believe what he's saying. You, on the other hand, actively believe it. And I don't know about you guys, but I would rather watch a clown that knows he's being a clown for money than a clown who thinks he's smart. Oh wait, we're watching the second one right now.
So I sat down to watch an over 10-minute video from the developers id that just came out about this new game, and it's left me with some real concerns. I like this a lot less than that original trailer. I say this because a lot of the reviews that they did about this new game, Doom the Dark Ages, look like they may be the exact opposite of what I wanted. It's a mix of some things I like the sound of, others that I don't, and some things that could be okay or could be terrible, depending on how they're implemented.
Well, other than being very vague, I wonder what he's going to criticize, guys. What does he not like?
That and the release of the PC specs that will be needed to run this thing, and I may just give it a miss altogether.
Oh yeah, the specs. You know, the same thing that Doom Eternal did before the game came out, and then we saw, oh, actually, you don't need to have all that to run the game. Huh. Also, by the look of your gameplay, bud, I don't think you need to worry about that. You can barely handle Doom.
Because this game to me doesn't look as good as Doom 2016 does, yet requires an Nvidia 3080 or better to run on recommended specs, and requires 4 times the RAM Doom 2016 did. Doom 2016 was really well optimised. This doesn't seem to be at all. So I won't be pre-ordering this one, and I'll be waiting for reviews because I have serious concerns at this point.
Okay, so you say you're not gonna pre-order, which makes complete sense because pre-ordering games doesn't really make sense. But then you say that the game isn't optimized. The game literally shows that you can optimize the speed, the gameplay, and almost everything else about the game. Did you watch the 10-minute video or did you not? Because at this point, I'm not so sure.
I'm going to be breaking their video down while I play Doom 2016 on Nightmare difficulty.
Everyone knows it. No one respects her. No one trusts her. No one takes her seriously.
Granted, the environments in this new game are looking really nice, but they're not looking 4 times the system requirements required to run it nice. I'm liking the new enemy designs and the new design for the Doomslayer, but I care a lot more about gameplay than I do ray tracing. Maybe the most worrying thing for me was the reveal of difficulty sliders, because that tends to mean to me a diminished and less polished gameplay experience.
I figured we were gonna get here. So, one of the things he doesn't like is the difficulty slider, because as we all know, Doom has always been just so challenging. That's the reason there's been an easy mode since the original Doom game. Yeah, it's almost like this guy is just on the bandwagon to try to come up with some bullcrap to hate the game. But you know what? That's giving him way too much credit. Because what he's talking about, he can literally just not choose to use. You can also, which he doesn't mention, you can make the demons faster. You can make yourself slower. You can make the stuff the demons throw at you faster. You can improve the damage Doomslayer takes. So you could also make it harder. Also, who cares if there's a difficulty slider? Why? It's not like Dark Souls where this is the main point of Doom is to be hard. So literally, what are you talking about? Oh, so saying, a game's gonna be less polished because there's a difficulty slider is brain dead. Just like the entire video.
Experience. Because Doom 2016 had really only 4 difficulty settings. Ultra Nightmare was just Nightmare and Iron Man mode really, so no saves. The devs had to optimise 4 difficulties for that game, and the game was polished but still had bugs. This game looks like it's going to have to optimise hundreds of possible difficulties. There are 8 sliders allowing for things like customised player damage, enemy damage, the speed of enemy projectiles, and the total game speed. If each slider has, by the look of it, maybe 10 positions, that's something like 8 to the power of 10 possible settings, and they couldn't even manage a flawless game when they were trying with 4.
Okay, I know you are not trying to say that they are going to do it individually. Buddy, the full difficulty modes are gonna be different from changing the in-game speed. You are an idiot. I don't know how you recorded this and didn't think, I wonder how this makes me look.
It looks like this game's lower difficulty will be essentially games journalist mode. For me, who really like Doom 2016, this game looks glacially slow. It's like a snail on downers.
Have you seen Doom Eternal's trailer footage? It literally looked nothing like the finished product because of how slow it was. This isn't gonna be the same speed.
It even still looks slow on the highest possible speed settings. Just look at the speed of these enemy ranged attacks. That's ridiculous. I could be half asleep and sedated and still dodge that. This is shocking, and I can only guess this is meant for the likes of games journalist Dean Takahashi, who tried to play the game Cuphead and famously couldn't get through the game's tutorial.
First of all, there was no evidence that this is the highest speed. You're just making stuff up. Second, I want to talk about games journalist if I was you, because you handle the criticism that you got from the Doom community the same way they do. Also, You can talk crap about the Cuphead guy. At least his resolution for his footage wasn't as awful as yours.
He also had trouble with the basic game mechanics in Doom Eternal, so how can journalists give a workable review of a game if they can't even get through the tutorial? There are a worrying number of signs that the focus in Doom the Dark Ages will not be on the gameplay, including the giant mech fights and the dragon. As cool as they are, they're just more signals that the focus in this game is in entirely the wrong place.
Okay, did you watch the video or not? Because you keep saying things that literally contradict what they said in the video. They literally said that they are getting rid of multiplayer so they can focus solely on gameplay. Full stop, that immediately contradicts what you're talking about. Also, they literally said as well that the dragon and the mech fights are not going to be one-off things and that they're going to be in the game. So, if I was you, I would maybe watch the video you're talking about, because at this point you have said so many things that doesn't make any sense with the context of watching the video. Also, you keep talking a lot of crap about games journalists, but you act almost exactly like them. It's almost like, after this, you might need to stop becoming one.
In their video, id describe Doom the Dark Ages like this.
In Doom Eternal, you felt like a fighter jet. In Doom the Dark Ages, you'll be an iron tank.
I'm interested in them bringing strafing back into the game as a viable tactic, instead of the run and gun from Doom 2016. In some ways, that's going right back to before Doom 2016, and way back to the original Doom 1 and 2. And lots of elements of this game seem to be like that. They seem to have gone away from the tuned challenge arenas of Doom 2016, and into more open world sandbox, and I'm not keen on that. There also seems to be a big emphasis put on secrets and exploration, which is also very Doom 1 and 2. One problem with the idea of strafing may be what they've done to the enemy AI in order to make that work, because the enemies don't seem to be flanking like they did in Doom 2016. Their tactics seem extremely rudimentary in comparison in these gameplay videos, and it looks like the game relies on hordes of less intelligent enemies instead of having a fewer challenging ones.
Yeah, the reason the demons aren't acting as clever as they used to, because it's a more stand your ground and fight type of game. You're supposed to be fighting a war of demons. If they all acted like Doom Eternals, then there would be no way to win, because it would literally break the game. This game is not like Doom Eternal, nor is it like Doom 2016. I don't understand the whole sandbox thing. This game is not going to be an open world. It's literally just going to be like the other two, but bigger.
Doom the Dark Ages is coming out supposedly May the 15th of 2025, and that I do like. I kind of prefer smaller gaps in between sequels than we've been getting. It's now 5 years since Doom Eternal, and I'd like smaller gaps even than that, even if it means reusing assets.
Well, it's a good thing that you're not leading ID games, because I do not want quantity over quality. Nor does anyone else but you.
There's no need to completely reinvent the wheel every single time, but frankly, I don't want to be too harsh on it on this occasion, considering the minimum 15-year wait for a Fallout sequel, or the supposed 15-year wait for a Skyrim sequel. How have Bethesda let it get to that, where the production time for a game is now approaching the time it takes for a human to reach adulthood? Quite why Bethesda has not got separate teams permanently working on these franchises. They're essentially money printers is beyond me. How do you have such a huge success with Skyrim and then leave the franchise to pasture for over 15 years? And no, I'm not accepting Fallout 76 as an acceptable standard, and I don't want every single player game to become an MMO live player experience where my fun and immersion is ruined by other people. I'm also still not happy about Doom the Dark Ages being a prequel, because I've really started to find prequels boring. We get so many of them. I maybe would have preferred them to move the story forward, but after Doom the Ancient Gods, I'm not sure where they can even go. Where do you go with a game after you've blown up Satan?
Jeez, I wonder why it's a prequel.
But Doom the Dark Ages looked like Doom, but with a medieval sort of aesthetic, and I was hoping it was going to be more like Doom 2016 than it was Doom Eternal. Doom Eternal in many places felt far too arcadey for me, and I preferred the darker, more gothic horror tone of Doom 2016 to the eye-melting, gaudy neon palette of Doom Eternal. That and flying around almost constantly on monkey bars. It sounds like they got the message on the monkey bars, but they didn't on the neon palette, because looking at this footage, there were just neon markers and tat covering almost the entire screen now.
Okay, bud, I know that you love Doom 2016 and that's like your bread and butter because you keep talking about how great it is, which it is. But you do realize that like all three of the games have different art styles, right? And you notice how and it's fine to like Doom 2016's art style. Okay? The demons in Doom 2016 I prefer than Doom Eternal. I mean, at least the ones that appeal in Doom 2016 and Eternal. Because the 2016 variants just look better. But at the same time, are you really going to try to sit there and tell me that Doom 2016, well, the demons literally glow like an arcade and there are guns littering the floor as like an arcade, and the game that literally has a arcade mode is also not an arcade like game? How original from the Doom 2016 fanboy.
Now, I quite like your art design, id. It would have been nice if I could maybe, see some of it instead of just seeing neon everywhere. Part of this seems to be due to a new system they've come up with of contextual button presses. So the Doomslayer has a shield in this game. The shield is also a chainsaw, and it's one button to operate the shield as a block, the same button to operate it as a parry, and the same button to throw the shield like Captain America. Doom 2016 also got a lot of praise for the way it told the story, or maybe more exactly, the way it didn't tell the story. Because instead of cutscenes, like pretty much every other game does, Doom 2016 put the story into text files that you could read if you wanted to. But frankly, Doom Guy in the game wasn't much interested in the story. He was mostly interested in ripping and tearing demons. So what have they done this time? Well, they've taken the narrative out of the codex and put it into cutscenes. So in this update from the studio, I found out that Doom the Dark Ages is going to be innovating by telling story through cutscenes pretty much like everything else does, and discarding the very original idea that people had praised them for.
Actually, no. Doom 2016 also had cutscenes. You know what they were called? When you're stuck in a room and you're having to hear Samuel Hayden or Vega give you a speech and you're not able to move until they're done talking. Wow, it's almost like a cutscene, but a worse version of it. Also, that also happened in Doom Eternal, and you know what you could do? You could skip the cutscenes. I wonder what they're gonna do this time. Also, he's going to get to something that is incredibly dumb, but I'd like to point out that the same criticisms that he's bringing up could also apply to Doom 2016, but they don't get mentioned. Isn't that kind of weird?
Their video also says there are going to be both new and returning characters and new enemies, and I have mixed feelings about those as well. The original Doom in 1993 was never really about characters, was it? The games didn't really have dialogue in them.
Oh, so all of a sudden it's bad to have characters? That's weird. I guess it's terrible that Doom has characters like Samuel Hayden and Vega and the woman that gets turned into the mastermind. Oh, wait a minute. When Doom 2016 does it, it's fine. Also, Doom has always been about characters, like the Doom Slayer or the Doom Marine, and there's no dialogue. Have you played Doom 1 and 2? In between the missions, it literally gives you dialogue of what you're doing. This is how you know that either he's being disingenuous on purpose or he doesn't know what he's talking about.
Doomslayer to have some new enemies, because after Doom the Ancient Gods, is there anyone even left alive? He maybe needs a nemesis or two, maybe an enemy he really has to dig deep to beat instead of just already having everything he needs to win with him every single time.
Didn't you literally just criticize them for adding new characters? But this is where this video ends, because the rest of the video, he starts talking about Batman. And I'm not going to have to put you through this mental gymnastics of hearing him going on a tangent, because the rest of the video is as dumb as the one that we've already watched. So, that's just my 2 cents on the matter. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, and comment, and make sure to help me out, because he might go after my character. But that's pretty much it. See ya.